Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on a really common but pretty dangerous mistake that a lot of businesses make. And we're going to do it using a powerful idea from Harvard Business School all about something called activity-based costing and the hidden power of your company's true capacity.
So, let's just jump right in with a question for you. How much does one single customer order really cost your business to get out the door? Seriously, what's the number?
Seems like it should be easy to figure out, right? Well, it turns out most companies actually get this number wrong, and making that one mistake, well, it can be a huge deal, potentially trapping a business in what they call a death spiral.
To figure out how to do it right, we first got to understand what goes wrong. And it all starts with a major flaw in how businesses have traditionally thought about their costs.
See, the old way, something called historical activity-based costing, or ABC, it seems to make perfect sense on the surface. You take an activity, like handling customer orders. You add up all the costs for that, the salaries, the computers, everything. Then you just count up how many orders you actually processed. Divide the total cost by the number of orders, and boom, you've got your cost per order. Simple. But it's also dangerously wrong.
And you know what? Managers can feel that it's wrong. This quote here just nails the frustration perfectly. You are still a traditional accountant looking backwards. I need a system that helps me navigate to the future. This old method is like driving by only looking in the rearview mirror. It tells you where you've been, but it's zero help for figuring out where you should go next.
But just being reactive isn't even the worst part. No, the real hidden flaw, the big one, is that this old way mashes two completely different things together. It mixes the cost of the resources you actually used with the cost of the resources you paid for but didn't use. It just lumps it all into one big, misleading number.
And when you mix those two costs up, that's when you can accidentally trigger that death spiral we mentioned. And trust me, it's not just a dramatic name. This is a very real, very scary thing for a business.
So what is it exactly? Well, it's this nasty, vicious cycle. Picture this. Your sales drop a little bit. Now, using that old, flawed math, your cost per item suddenly looks like it went up because you're spreading all the same costs over fewer sales. So what do? You think, oh, I have to raise my prices. But of course, that just makes even fewer people buy, which makes your cost per item look even higher. And around you go, spiraling right down the drain. It's a nightmare that starts with a simple accounting mistake.
So how in the world do you stop this? How do you break the cycle? Well, the answer starts with a whole new way of looking at things. It's all about understanding the true power of what's called practical capacity.
Okay, so practical capacity isn't about what your team did. It's about what they could have done with the resources you gave them. So if you've got a team and the equipment to handle, say, 5,000 orders in a month, your practical capacity is 5,000. It doesn't matter if you only got 4,000 orders. The 5,000 is the true measure of what all your spending actually bought you. It bought you potential.
And right here, this is where the whole thing just clicks into place. Look at the numbers. With the old, flawed view, you take your $280,000 in expenses and divide by the 4,000 orders you think you'll get. That gives you a cost of $70 an order. But with the capacity view, you take that same $280,000 and you divide it by your practical capacity of 5,000 orders. And what do you get? The true cost to process one order is only $56. That $14 difference, that is everything. Because now you can see exactly where that $280,000 went. You can see it clear as day. $224,000 of it was the actual cost of the work you did, processing those 4,000 orders. But that other $56,000, that's not part of the cost of an order at all. That is the separate, distinct cost of your unused capacity.
And this is the most crucial part. That $56 cost per order isn't just a better number. It's a totally new lens to see your business through. For the very first time, you're not just guessing. You can actually see, with a real dollar amount, the cost of the work you didn't do. You can see the cost of that potential you paid for but didn't use. And once you can see it, you can manage it.
But hold on, because it gets even more interesting. There's a little surprise hidden inside this whole idea of becoming more efficient.
Let me ask you this. What happens when your team gets more efficient? Let's say you do some fancy new project, and now your team can handle 7,000 orders instead of 5,000. That's a huge win, right? But what if your actual customer demand doesn't change? It just stays stuck at 4,000 orders. What happens to your cost then? Okay, so let's quickly remember our starting point. Before your big efficiency project, the true cost per order was $56. That was made up of $224,000 for the work you did and a $56,000 cost for the capacity you didn't use. Okay, got it? Now watch this.
Now look at the after. Your new capacity is a whopping 7,000 orders. So your true cost to handle one order, it drops way down to just $40. Amazing, right? The cost of the work you did sinks to $160,000. But just look at that last line. The cost of your unused capacity has exploded. It's ballooned to $120,000.
$120,000. That is the big, counterintuitive reveal. Getting more efficient doesn't automatically save you a dime. What it does is create more capacity. And if you don't find something to do with all that new potential, the cost of your downtime just got a whole lot more expensive.
And that, of course, brings us to the final, and really the most important question. Now that you can see this big chunk of unused capacity, what do you actually do about it?
Well, when you boil it all down, you have two main choices. Your first option is to reduce your supply. If you now have way more capacity than you need, maybe you can cut back. You reassign some people, or you don't renew that expensive software license. Your other option, increase demand. Go out and find new, profitable work to fill up all that empty space you just created. Sell more to existing customers, find new ones, launch a whole new service.
And this leads us to the real punchline of this whole explainer. We all talk about fixed costs like there's some law of physics we can't change, but they're not. Costs are only fixed if managers choose not to act. That unused capacity that you can now see so clearly, it's not just a cost problem, it's a signal. It's an opportunity screaming for a strategic decision.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought to take with you. Go look at your own job, your own department, your own business. Where is your hidden, unused capacity? And now that you know how to look for it, is it just a cost you have to live with? Or is it actually an opportunity just waiting for you to grab it?